Justin Gordon is the founder of Just Go Grind, podpuppy.com, and Just Go Fitness. Also an MBA student at USC, Justin is an emerging entrepreneur with extensive digital marketing experience and a passion for helping people.
First off, what is your personal definition of success?
Personal definition of success. I was thinking about this, and it goes down to really freedom for me, because there's so many different things you could say with the monetary level or anything else with, I'll make this much money, I want to do this, I want to have this. But for me, it really comes down to freedom. So I think I forgot who it was who quoted this, but being able to wake up in the morning, go to bed at night, and in between do exactly what you want to do, that's pretty much how I align in terms of success for me personally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you share what steps you take daily to improve?
Yeah, if you're talking about business or fitness or anything, there's a few different categories or buckets, I would say, I kind of think about. And so in terms of business, it's always what is the end goal and what is that kind of 6 to 12 months that's leading up to that will help me get to that. So on a daily basis, that could be anything from reading books on things I'm kind of lacking or I'm trying to get to that next stage of business wise. It could be making sure I'm connecting with clients for the podcast production company, outreach to guests always for the show. So it really depends on the day to day. And then from a personal standpoint, fitness has always been a big part of my own life. And so pretty much a daily regimen of working out. And that kind of is my almost meditation as well. So I don't meditate, I have in the past, but I like to use fitness as sort of that meditation for me. And so it's kind of a daily habit. It's actually alternating between running and lifting every other day. And it just kind of switches off from there. And that's kind of one of those personal habits that helps me in terms of success.
That's awesome. I was in bodybuilding for years. So
oh, wow.
Absolutely hated running. You eat everything you could and stay lift as much as possible and try not to lose any weight whatsoever. But that's a whole different thing once you get old, and now I start packing on the fat. So
it is, and I used to hate running. I'll be honest with you. That was something I never really liked to do. I did sprints and stuff because I played football and basketball in high school and football in college, and I didn't really like to run distance. But for whatever reason, I got into running distance a little bit more. It's just kind of a therapeutic thing for me, where I can either be on a treadmill and look at watch a movie, or just kind of get in the zone of thinking through business stuff, thinking through planning everything. And so for whatever reason, I got into that, which has been helpful for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is your advice for someone making an important decision?
With making an important decision, I think it all stems down to what is your why? I know Simon Sinek mentioned the whole start with why movement and your golden circle. And in terms of making a decision, it has to go back to what is the why behind it. And for me, that's always been what I've come back to with any decision is what is the why? What is your purpose? And that kind of guides you into making a decision. Do you decide to do this business idea? Do you decide to partner with this person? And if you don't know the foundation of what kind of is your why, I think it's really difficult to be able to answer that question, to be able to give advice in that way. So it all has to start with why. And that's kind of something I've always believed in. And that's what the advice would be for sure.
Okay. Can you tell me about a specific moment that set you on the path to where you are now?
Yeah, there's many of them, I think, along the way. But one of the ones I always kind of go back to is something where one of my mentors, his name was Sean Wild. He passed away at age 24. He was stabbed in the heart in a bar trying to break up a fight. And he was one of the most giving and passionate people. And I've always come back to that thought of giving and helping people, going back to Sean. Like I said, because he was a mentor, he was a few years older than me in high school sports. He was always helping me. Even when he had graduated, came back to watch games of other people and remember him giving advice on things. And I was thinking of that whole time of wow, he's so giving, he's so helpful. And that's kind of guided me through everything I've done, with Just Go Fitness all the way to now with Just Go Grind, with Pod Puppy, with everything. It's always kind of coming back to helping people and being helpful to others first, and then going from there. And so that really kind of set me on that path to doing that. Was that I remember getting the call and hearing about it, and that kind of was whoa. Life is short. You don't know what's going to happen. And people like that are out there. And I like to emulate them and try to be like that. And so that's definitely was a big moment for me.
Well, that's definitely a life-changing event there. Sorry to hear about your friend.
Yeah. It's crazy.
If you could recommend one book for our audience, what would that be?
The first one that comes to mind is The 4-Hour Workweek. It's something, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and there's so many things in there. I'm actually rereading that again for like the 5th time probably. And every time you read it, you get reminded of things that are important for either being more efficient, choosing the actual right task that you should be doing. That's something that's huge because you can do the wrong task and be efficient at that, and it won't be helpful for you in the first place. So that book I go to over and over and over again, and it's one that has been the most influential for me, at least in my career so far.
Okay, yeah, that's a great book.
Yeah.
Are you more of a visual or auditory learner? I mean, do you like to listen to audiobooks or ebooks or paperback?
Yeah, all of them. So I love having the actual like physical copy. You know, something about that is just. I love having the shelf I can look to and actually see the books and that physical copy. Something about it is just like, I don't know, I like it. But at the same time, I'm like practical and I have an Audible account and like have audiobooks. Probably have about 30 in there as well. And I do listen to podcasts, of course. Some combination of like all of those, but I do love having the physical book where you're not staring at like an actual screen for once. That's helpful. So I have physical copies of almost all the books I have, I have physical copies, but I also do have digital copies of some of them as well, which is kind of crazy, but then it's just easy to have, easy to carry. And so it's a combination of both, I think, for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What character traits do you value the most in others?
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many. I think something I really admire is honestly ambition. So whether it be business, whether it be a different industry, whether it be a fitness or anything really, people who are like ambitious or like are go-getters who are trying to do things, and it could be, like I said, any capacity. Someone who's just trying to go above and beyond. I always admire that in people, and that's like the number one thing, whether it be like determination, ambition, that's those types of things I've always admired in people because it inspires me to do more. But then also like that's how the world improves. That's how we make changes. That's how things happen. Is you have people who are ambitious, and that combining that ambition with having some type of willingness to help people in some capacity, where it's not just an ambition for themselves personally, but it's an ambition for actually trying to make the world better or how trying to help other people. And it doesn't mean they can't, make money for themselves. Like by all means do that, but like with some drive of making a difference and helping people is those are kind of the combination of things I really do admire in people, for sure.
Well, that's awesome. Okay. And this is a tougher question. How do you push through tough times?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always about having that support system and remembering that you have so many amazing people in your life. And, whether it be your family, whether it be your friends, whether it be just other associates or coworkers or whatever, for me, I kind of always go back to the people in my life. So even right now I would say I have like 4 main things going on with USC. So school, obviously, and then having the production company, having Just Go Grind, and then a new show I'm doing with Spark XYZ. It's kind of like, it can be overwhelming at times for sure, because there's so many different things pulling your attention. It's hard to focus on just one, but then I always go back to people in my life. And then what's the goal I'm trying to do, which is I'm always trying to help people. And so that kind of drives you through those tough times where, maybe you don't get enough sleep, or you're struggling because you're dealing with certain client work or whatever it may be. It's always coming back to basically gratitude for what you already have and realizing that everything's going to be okay. And if the absolute worst happened, you'd still have your family and friends and life would be okay. And that really helps me get through any tough times. So I don't really get too down on things with keeping that perspective of gratitude and like the things you have in your life. It makes it a little bit easier, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that. Now you answered this a little bit in our, in the question where I was asking about the what character traits you value the most in others.
Yeah.
But what inspires you?
Yeah, I still think it's the people. Like I've tried to surround myself with people, who are ambitious, who are doing things, and that on a daily basis is something that's been an inspiration for me. And just seeing what other people are doing, and like you see what's possible. Like when I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's something where if you can get out of the bubble of wherever you're at, whatever city that is, by seeing other people and like going to conferences and going to events. Like early on in my career, I went to an event in New York City, which is I think it was called Business Gets Personal. It was with Dave Ramsey, Seth Godin, and Gary Vaynerchuk. And that just opened my mind to like the people who are out there who are doing crazy good things, but at the same time, they started in all different places, just like we started somewhere, like Gary Vaynerchuk started in the wine store. Like there's so many different people like that who are inspiring. And I think you can get around those people by reading the books, listening to podcasts and audiobooks, and then going to events. And once you see what's possible, and it makes it so much more real and tangible, that's always been inspiring for me as I've gone through my career from personal trainer to now, MBA and all their businesses as well. That's been an inspiration for sure.
Okay. How do you manage and prioritize opportunities?
That's a tough one. There's so many coming out like all the time. And I think it comes back to what I mentioned a little bit earlier with starting with why. I look at from the foundation of what I'm trying to accomplish, the top level with life in general, and then coming down to the next 6 to 12 months and really prioritizing from there what I should be doing. So like I mentioned, I have like 4 different main things going on. So in the near term, it's like, okay, the MBA, trying to get the most out of this experience, because once it's done, it's done. That's it. You only have one MBA. So it's like that is the priority of sorts in that, but also combining that with what will be the revenue generating things that will be able to allow me to then go full time into my own business after the MBA, which I think is very possible. But at the same time, especially living in Los Angeles, there's a certain monetary amount that you have to make, which is not insignificant. And so prioritizing right now is looking at the next 10 months until a graduation of like what things move the needle on the business to get me to that point. So we have clients now with like Pod Puppy, the podcast production company, and it's like getting to a point where we're good enough at graduation level, monthly income wise, to be able to go full time. And so I prioritize tasks based on that. And it's a mix of kind of the short term versus long term, because you can write a blog post that may build brand and may be good for later on in life, but it may not generate revenue immediately. So it's like the combination of those things. I say mostly looking at though that first kind of next 6 to 12 months, and then from there adjusting and kind of dabbling with a few long-term opportunities. And that's kind of how I do it. But it's an ongoing challenge. It's something that I'm always thinking about and always trying to optimize, but it adjusts every single week or two, I'd say.
Okay.
But that's a system for now. Yeah.
So some kind of rolling target, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Yeah, it's weird because at 18 years old, I was so engrossed in sports. And so that was, senior year of high school, you're looking at going to play college sports, looking at, do you take like a D2 offer, which I had for football, or go D3 where your family can see you play. And I love sports so much at the time. I don't think I realized that there was really a huge life beyond sports, and sports don't last. It was just so like narrow-minded focus of like, okay, get to the next level. Let's play college football. Let's do that. I would tell myself at that point, probably really just to network with people outside of your circle, even back then, because you get so engrossed in, okay, you're hanging out with the football guys because you're on the football team. And I would tell myself to get out of that circle more, to like go talk to people in other areas of the school. Once I get to college, go talk to other people, even like professors and other people that you're there. I didn't really take advantage of that at 18 years old when I'm either, graduated high school, going to college. Whereas now I totally understand the value of that and how important that is for not even just business opportunities, just like making life more interesting and better, is to kind of go outside your own little comfort zone circle. So I would have told myself to do that earlier and not wait until you're, 28 years old to go a lot harder into that. And so that would be something I would tell myself. And then also just kind of relax. I mean, I was very focused on, trying to be successful in the sports department, but there's so much more than that. And so just relax, everything's gonna be okay. That's the second thing I'd say, I think.
Okay. That's some great insight. I appreciate you taking the time to share that with our audience.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. I will have to get back with you and check on your podpuppy.com site and look into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
What's some good ways people can get a hold of you on social media or online? Or
Yeah, there's a few different things. So my websites all have platforms there as well. Instagram's probably one of the easier ones. Just Justin Gordon 8 is not Instagram. Also, Just Go Grind is the kind of the show Instagram, but I also get back to people on that with the podcast. And then honestly, if people want to email me, I don't have a problem with that at all. It's justin@justgogrind.com. I'm on some other socials, but I don't use Twitter as much. It's fun to use, but I don't use it as much. But mainly, I'd say probably Instagram with Justin Gordon 8. But then they can check out the websites as well, podpuppy.com, justgogrind.com, and then I do still have justgofitness.com going. Haven't written in a while, but still gets a lot of traffic because SEO. I would put in a lot of time early on in that, and so they could check that out as well.
Perfect, man. Thanks again for your time, and we'll have to chat here again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.